All right. What else from the PPA? Mr. Beast jumped in the chat there for a moment. He's not one of the investors in MLP, is he? No.
Not that I'm aware of.
I think he was in conversations at one point though.
I heard that rumor. Yeah.
He was just with Tom Brady. Maybe they were talking pickle.
Oh yeah, I saw that video. They were on like $1 billion yacht or something crazy like that.
Yeah, and they did like 70 or between 40 and 70 million views in the first like 24 hours of posting that, which is like the highest performing any video ever.
You mean the Pickle Pod? It doesn't get there.
Weirdly, we haven't hit those metrics yet.
It's because the people aren't subscribing. That's what it is. That's what it is.
Yes, please subscribe.
Help us beat Mr. Beast.
Yeah.
But that's pretty cool. I mean, like, I think there has to be a purpose to it. I've actually watched some interviews with Mr. Beast. I think he was on Joe Rogan. I think he was on some other podcasts, and that guy's a workaholic.
Yeah.
Like super, super passionate. Mm-hmm. He doesn't have free time.
Yeah.
He's like Elon Musk type, where he's like working 18 hours, like hardly sleeping, just driven by passion. Right. So I don't think he is on the YouTube chat for pleasure, just killing time.
Yeah,
right.
Right.
I think I don't know what there is to it. Right.
You think there's purpose behind him being? He was curious.
There's purpose.
He was wondering if there's something worth leaning into going on.
I think there's purpose. I would bet money that there's purpose there.
Interesting. Okay. All right. Come to pickleball, Mr. Beast. Debut of pickleball brackets.
I heard it was rough.
Yeah. Well, apparently it's just like the same thing.
That's what Memes of Pickleball has to say. They're my number one source of news.
Yeah.
I did not follow along on pickleball brackets. I actually, as part of our our preparation, our thorough preparation that we do, I tried to find results for San Clemente, and I stopped trying.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't on pickleball tournaments. Past results I couldn't find on the PPA's website. Mm-hmm. I did not try pickleball brackets.
Yeah. It's just pickleball is weird. Can you think of like a tech product in pickleball that's actually good, that you like using, that you like opening? Everybody has progress to make.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's good startups, right? But like, is there a very good finished product quite yet?
Mm-mm.
I don't know.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Chill, dude. Chill.
It's just a fact.
Just a fact.
All right. We picked player stocks. We talked about Riley and Matt. Can you explain this Real Clear Stats post to me?
Oh yeah. I thought this was
I'm a bite-sized information guy. If it's long form, I need somebody to break it down for me.
Spark Note summary, explain like I'm 5.
Yep.
Basically, since PPA is running their seedings entirely off of PPA points, it's bad. Okay.
Dude, what was that?
You know what? South Park?
Yeah, no, I definitely do.
The seedings are bad.
Somebody put up, this has nothing to do with anything, but somebody put up a clip of Tim Cook when he did the talk about their new, glasses or whatever they released. Mm-hmm. And then they played it side by side with Mr. Garrison, and they talk exactly the same. So anyway.
I can see it now.
Yeah.
I can see it now. The seeds are bad.
Yeah. Did you have other impressions?
I have a lot. I do a lot of impressions.
Yeah.
I haven't pulled too many out in the
That's pretty good.
on the podcast. Most of them are just too offensive.
Yeah.
But, let's see. So basically, since they're using only PPA points, and since they're using 18 months of PPA points, players who didn't play much PPA last year are underseeded. And he basically Thomas's note.
Yeah, I just noticed my note too. I forgot I wrote that.
He wrote, "Explain this one to me. I'm too dumb."
I don't even remember writing that. I was moving so fast.
But So the basically
you're talking about when like an APP player comes over to a PPA.
correct.
Right.
So a couple of good examples are the Brascia sisters as well as Federico and Pablo.
Mm-hmm.
They're always seated pretty low. They run into a high seed all the time as a result of that, right? If they're the 7 seed, they're running into the 2 seed all the time when maybe they should have been the 3 seed, right? But basically, like, these couple of teams haven't lost to anybody hardly lower than them, and they've been upsetting people higher than them, but they don't have the results to show. It's a very interesting post, and, you know, explaining it in 2 minutes. Explaining it in 2 minutes to a 5-year-old is tough, but it's
Well,
worth a watch. And since the rating system is going over 18 months, or the ranking system is going over 18 months, the gap isn't closing because PPA players don't have points rolling off, and so everybody's gathering points at the same time. Mm-hmm. It's worth the read.
18 months.
18 months.
That seems pretty long. Especially given pickleball and the nature of pickleball, the nature of pro pickleball.
Agreed. Well, I think the PPA was probably in a tough spot at the beginning of the year where they had the people that were loyal to them that were accruing points, and they didn't want to piss them off. And maybe that's at the expense of some of the people that have come over this year. There's not like a great solution to it, but like, how were they supposed to do seedings?
Yeah.
I don't know.
We'll just make it a shorter time frame.
Yeah,
but
probably less than 18 months.
One of the interesting
18 months feels weird.
One of the interesting things about that is going back to like Dylan and J-Dub is, so it's the rankings go Ben and Colin, Matt and Riley, and then J-Dub and Dylan, right? Because J-Dub and Dylan are the 3. I think that's the case, right? They always end up coming up against Ben and Colin. And because of that, they lose earlier, and they can't advance out of that number 3 spot, despite that they might be arguably better than Matt and Riley.
Yeah, but I think they flip the seeds sometimes. Like, so I think that 3 and 4 are supposed to be flipped. Like it's
from
50,
like tournament
50.
to tournament.
So if you're the 3rd ranked or the 4th ranked, you're in this. You have a 50% chance of getting the 3 seed and a 50% chance of being the 4 seed. Mm-hmm. You can be the 3rd ranked team, but be the 4 seed.
Got it.
Just so that there's some variance in the draws.
Right. Okay.
5 through 8 are randomized as well.
So that's kind of the opposite of what I was saying. I think that makes sense.
I don't actually know whether they do it for 3 and 4. I know that they do it for 5 through 8, and I don't think they do anything outside of.
So maybe that's the issue, that they don't do it for 3 and 4, but.
Maybe.
I don't know. But I guess it's just because you don't. It's always Matt and Riley versus Ben and Colin. When the PPA, because people will say, oh well, they're doing. There's funny business going on with the seeding, based on like favoritism and stuff like that. But if there were that, don't you think the PPA would want Dylan and J-Dub in that final at least?
What's a more exciting final?
More frequently. I guess. Yeah,
you got 4 mutes on the court when JW and Dylan are out there.
It's less entertaining, and
I don't think even the frat boys in Texas would be able to go nuts for that match.
Yeah, which, by the way, sounds like it's going to be something that might be implemented in MLP is the ruckus. So that'll be interesting. But yeah, I enjoy watching Matt and Riley play.
I don't think
more.
California frats have the same vigor to them as the Texas frats. Maybe they'll prove me wrong.
Yeah.
I think at SMU, that's a good fratty school right there.
Right.
Like what is UC San Diego going to send their top house over?
Well, there's those hype guys, which they're just apparently going to tour and just try and hype up the crowds at pickleball tournaments, which is interesting.
Caitlin Kerr does a good job of that, but she's a team owner.
Yeah, right.
I don't think she was a team owner in Columbus last year. Maybe she was, or just she does a great job of that. That is not an easy job.
What's your last note here? Equilibrium to be reached.
I think they said that this is stat stuff. It should all even out, I think, by, he said, mid 2024. So it would be another year before the whole seedings would be completely accurate under the current system. Mm-hmm. But anyway, that's a super abbreviated version of this. Go check out Ben's post, Real Clear Stats. It's cool stuff. Lots of other interesting things on there too.
All right, so you got a note here. Too many tournaments, which I think has been a topic of conversation for 2 years now. Are there too many tournaments? Is there too much physical and mental wear on these players? What's your take on that?
Yeah, I just saw the NML article today. We're halfway through the season. Yeah, I mean, I think this year most of us are contracted to play at least 18 PPA tournaments as well as 6 MLP tournaments. 24, that's every other weekend. Yeah, it is. It's a mental grind more than anything, and I don't know. I think you're going to start to see it's just tough to be there focused every single time.
Yeah.
I think I would love to play 18 tournaments total. I think that'd be like a perfect amount. You play one month to the next month. That would be perfect. I think you'd have a better product as well. But yeah, I mean the 2 per month is rough, and then some people are just going after it. They're just playing everything. Like James and Anna are just playing everything.
Right.
They're animals.
Right. But then, they'll be selective about which ones they play singles in and which ones because doubles is obviously much less of a, but, depending on your ambitions, you might want to be just getting as many reps as possible. That might be your philosophy. So you might think the opposite. More tournaments, the better chance I have at elevating my game and moving through the ranks quicker.
Yeah, potentially. But there's just a different level of focus in tournaments. If you can bring it every single time, that's great. But I don't know. I think you got to be careful of burnout and careful not to do too much. The tennis players that are playing the most. Like, let's think of a Djokovic, for example. Like, he's been going at it for forever.
But he's also got zillions of dollars to throw at the best recovery, the best diet, but the best arrangements when he travels.
Physical recovery is one thing. I think that the amount of tournaments is more of a mental thing than physical.
If you were in the Ritz every time you showed up to a destination, do you think it'd be a little easier mentally?
The first couple times, then it would just be another tournament.
Then it would.
I think what he does such a good job of is like he's spending hours meditating every day. That's his like mental recovery, right? So I don't know. I think that I'd worry about some players burning out if they aren't doing things like some form of mental recovery.
Mm-hmm. Just for comparison, I just looked up PGA. So 47 PGA Tour events every year. Not every top player plays in all of those, but just to kind of create some sort of parallel. And then there's the majors, right? Like I don't think that would include the Masters and some of the other big tournaments. So
yeah, but I wonder what their like minimum is. I wonder how many Tiger Woods played in the last year, right? I don't know.
Yeah, I bet there's if you're a card holder, you probably have minimum appearances you have to hit. It's too long for me to try and Google that right now. Where's ChatGPT when you need it?
I was gonna say, you still Google stuff? Amateur hour over here.
Actually, we pay for our employees to have ChatGPT Premium.
Oh, so up to date?
Yeah, the Dink's on the cutting edge.
Wow. Okay. Look at that. I got to get it.
We don't shy away from tech.
Okay, hold on. This is not pickleball related, just whatsoever. Mm-hmm. Is ChatGPT Premium worth it?
Yeah, I mean, you can just like send more in a confined amount of time. It just, I mean, it just depends on how, it's a usage thing. Like how often do you use it? And then there's other times where, and this doesn't happen as much anymore because there's Bard from Google and these other AI models now, but back when ChatGPT was the thing, they often had capacity issues where they'd lock out free users to prioritize premium users. So when there were lockouts and you couldn't get in, I could still use it because I was a premium paying member. I think there's a bunch of like integrations and stuff that come with being a premium member as well.
Okay. Gotcha.
But if you're just using it as like, Google on steroids and you're not using it that much, you probably don't. Premium probably doesn't matter that much.
Not worth.
In fact, now that I'm saying it out loud, we might want to revisit paying these monthlies. Things have changed.
There we go. Budget cuts over here at the Dink.
Yeah. That and careful not to swear too much.
That is true. That's true as well. Yeah, I've made that $500 donation. I don't think I've said a swear word yet.
Okay, I have something I want to bring up. And we tweeted it from the Dink account. So the tweet was, Ben Johns, Anna Lee, and select others should negotiate equity in any tour or league they compete in. Same for any brand that sponsors them. Equity should be a part of every conversation. The sport is still so young, and it's starving for stars to fuel its growth. Surprised this isn't more common. Give me like your initial reaction to that. By the way, your dad responded to that tweet.
Oh, Dennis. Dennis has been mixing it up with the pickleball forum.
Yeah.
He's been getting after it. He's gotten called out by a couple of pickleball forum favorites.
Really?
Oh yeah. He popped on there. Sidebar. He popped on there and just asked a question like, what's the pickleball etiquette? Singles versus doubles. If there's doubles team waiting, but you've got a singles court, are you just like obligated to go play doubles, or are you allowed to play your singles for an hour? Like,
I know the etiquette. If it's packed courts and you're playing singles and people are waiting, then you can finish whatever match you're playing, but anybody on the side can grab two people and come and challenge you, and you have to play doubles with who you're playing singles with, and you have to keep the court. So you have to allow for people to come and challenge the court from you.
is this like a Detroit thing?
It's just like being a generally decent person. If the courts are packed on a busy like Saturday, this actually happened on Sunday. I played. We showed up at like 7 a.m. So we didn't have any trouble getting on the court, but we were playing. We had the court, and then a line formed, and there were two courts of people playing singles. One of them was like a dad and his kid who was barefoot, and they had paddles that like they made in their garage. And then the other one was like a boyfriend and girlfriend who looked like they had never played pickleball before. And I'm kind of looking over at them like, you see this line? Like, you guys got to rotate these people in, right? I almost said to the guys who were waiting, I was like, two of you go challenge them and like kick them off the court. But if they keep the court, then by all means, you get to.
So you keep the court, then you get to play a singles game. Somebody else challenges you, play a singles game.
Yeah.
Interesting. Is that how it works in tennis?
I don't know. Well, there's no capacity issues.
Yeah,
in tennis.
that's very true.
Yeah.
I just think it should be most, at least tennis courts, right? There's signs up there that say like, keep your singles to an hour and a half if others are waiting. I think that's reasonable. I think you're there to play singles. You're not there to play doubles. You don't know who the hell these people are. Why do you need to mix in with them?
Basic decency.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of basic decency. No, but seriously, why is it your responsibility? You got there first. Like, you're playing singles. You like to play singles. You don't like to play doubles. Why do you need to mix in? It's not. It's basic decency. If you don't know how to play, if you're just gonna go hit up some random strangers to play and they don't want to, basic decency to just go away.
It is kind of a basketball thing, though. It's definitely a basketball thing.
Okay, yeah, all right.
Where basically, yeah, you challenge the five out there, the three or whatever, to then take the court.